Alrighty, what is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is actually going to be a Warzone tips and tricks video, just because I finally got into it myself, and you see I had just a horrible landing right there. But before we get into this, I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on where I've been. I actually just moved out. So now I'm in an apartment, and it took a little bit of time to get my stuff set up. I've also been working on a couple of Battlefront videos since the game is in its final form, or at least as the developers are saying right now, in its final form in the last major content update. I wanted to give out just a final, like, best loadouts, best star cards videos. I wanted to give like an overall wrap up of that game. So I've been working on those videos to hopefully help people, not just now, but in the future if anyone wants to play that game and they just don't know where to start. But without further ado, let's get right into this video. Alright, so the first tip is an obvious one, and I know a lot of vets out there that have been playing Warzone for a while. They already know this one, but this is for like the new player, kind of like me, if you just hopped on for the first time and it seems like everybody's landing before you. When you go to land, if you're trying to travel a little bit of distance away from the plane, which typically you are, you need to open your parachute and then immediately cut that parachute. And you want your velocity to be somewhere between 40 and 50 before you reopen. Once you reopen that parachute, let's say it's at 45 velocity, and that velocity is going to be in a bar on the right side, but let's say you reopen at 45 velocity, and then you need to cut that chute again. So just immediately, the second after you open that chute, cut it again, get back up to 40 to 50, then cut it again, and just keep doing that until you land. The other option for dropping is just going straight down the second you get out, like the plane gets over the place you're trying to drop, and then once you get close to where you're landing, the parachute's going to open automatically, and then you again want to cut that chute. So again, this is just another parachute tip. A lot of people seem to be confused on why sometimes the parachute will automatically open once you get close to the ground, and other times you'll go splat and you'll hit the ground. And I've noticed a trend. It seems like if you fall straight from the plane and don't open your parachute a single time on the way to the ground, it will open automatically every single time. However, if you fall from that plane and at any point you have opened that parachute and then cut it, it will no longer automatically open for you once you get to a certain elevation. You're going to have to manually pull that chute once you get low enough to the ground. So just know, once you open that parachute and then cut it, you will have to manually reopen it. And the next tip is going to be a stick with what you know. I know that one sounds pretty obvious, but for me, I'm either a really close quarters combat kind of guy, like they've got to be within the same room as me, or I'm sniping them from 3 or 4 buildings away. There's no real in between for me. Like I try and stick with an assault rifle at all times, but if I really must, I'll go with an SMG. But again, that just plays into my strength, which is that close quarters combat. The second we get to that mid-range game, I cannot seem to get the kills through that. So figure out what your best way of fighting is, and then try and make sure that you've always got that as an option, whether it's the long game, the mid-range, or the short-range game. Next tip, stay away from shotguns. I don't know what the hell they did with shotguns in this game, but if your opponent is at full armor, it is very, very unlikely that you're going to get a shotgun one pump. And then by the time you get to that second pump, your opponent will more than likely have sprayed you down with bullets, because they either have an SMG or an assault rifle in their loadout, and they will gun you down before you get the chance to kill them with your shotgun. Next tip, this is again a pretty obvious one that a lot of the vets will already know. Try and find a heartbeat sensor. Anytime I find a heartbeat sensor, I will trade whatever tactical I have immediately. It doesn't matter what tactical. If it's a smoke grenade, that's probably the second best in my opinion, because you need that tactical cover if you get caught out in the open. But that heartbeat sensor is so useful. I find that most people are not using the cold-blooded perk with their custom loadouts. It typically seems to be like they're using high alert or oh man, what's the other one? Regardless, they're not using cold-blooded, so I can most of the time find people on my heartbeat sensor, and it makes it a lot easier to figure out what exactly I need to do to kill them and to make sure they can't kill me. So this next one is more of a loadout tip. I prefer to go with the double time perk as my first one. Ghost also works if you wanted to swap that out. I know most people try to use Ghost. I just prefer double time, having that extra speed boost, and then having the longer amount of time that you could run. Since Warzone is such a massive, just huge map, I know there's vehicles and things like that that can get you there faster, but I find myself running more than anything because the vehicles immediately put a target on your back. Double time is just my preferred perk right there. But then the second one, I prefer high alert. And again, I play a lot of solo Warzone. You may play with squads, so that'll vary as well. But since I am typically by myself in Warzone, I don't have a second pair of eyes looking out for me, so I can only see what's in front of me. It's really good to know if a sniper has you in your in their sights and you don't know about it. That's what high alert does for me. Every time that I see a sniper, well, I guess I don't see the sniper, it'll light up yellow on the sides of the screen, and that means there's someone looking at me from either the right, the left, or behind me. It'll tell you which side to, and then I can usually find cover accordingly. If not, I mean, sometimes snipers can just get you regardless, but that's why I prefer high alert. And then this next one is really just complete personal preference. I started out with spotter so I could see enemy equipment, and then I realized I never die by enemy equipment unless it's C4, but seeing that C4 come to hit you isn't really going to change whether or not you can get out of the way. C4 is just a little overpowered. So then I switched to tracker, and that one seems to have helped because I can find people just like that heartbeat sensor. Sometimes I won't be able to see people with that heartbeat because they've got cold-blooded on. And that's where tracker comes into play because I can just follow them with their footsteps. The last thing I recommend you do with your loadout is to have a bouncing Betty or a Claymore, just so you can watch your own back. Let's say you want to set up a little sniper's nest and you don't want to be paying attention to what's behind you. Put down a Claymore or a bouncing Betty, and I mean, I'd still recommend checking every now and then just to make sure it's still there because people can hack that, but it just makes it a lot easier to get that sniping done. And then just a quick thing with the loadout, I prefer to do, like I said, I do high alert rather than overkill or cold-blooded. So typically I can find myself an assault rifle, which is why anytime I find a loadout drop, I will pick my sniper class. And then I've got the deagle as my secondary. I don't usually pick up the deagle. I go with one of the weapons that I had found on the battlefield. I always recommend picking that sniper if you can snipe people, at least moderately decent. Because it's hard to find a good sniper out there unless you're killing someone for their sniper. But again, I just prefer to have my own custom class sniper on me at all times. So if I do have the money for it, I will get a secondary custom loadout drop and then throw that down. Which actually leads me to my next tip for Warzone survival, which is save your money. Don't spend it on a loadout drop right off the bat. Like, I guess if you get 10,000, go ahead and get that loadout drop and drop it down. But once you see that free loadout drop, I think it's once that first circle starts closing in, that's when it's going to notify you that you've got a loadout drop within your proximity that you can go after. So I will always go after that first, and then I will throw down the loadout afterwards. I just prefer it because it seems to work out more frequently. Plus, sometimes if I've purchased a loadout drop from the shop and I throw that down, I won't get the free loadout all the time. Sometimes I still do, but it's very hit or miss for me. I don't know if that's a bug in the game or if that's intentional. Regardless, I just try and wait for that free one, and then I go purchase one so I could have my full loadout between my assault rifle and my sniper. But again, always go with that sniper first. So watching this video back, I realized I did miss one of the things with landing. Another tip is try to avoid the rooftops, because I see most people dying from another player right off the bat after they land on the same rooftop. You saw in the beginning, I kind of messed up my drop. I didn't even land near a door. I recommend landing on the ground and near an entryway so you can just get inside and start looting quick. Again, with the parachute cutting and then reopening, you can get to the ground quicker than most people. So use that to your advantage to get to those supplies beforehand. Now, finally, for the last tip, I just want to say sound is a huge thing with this game. I think that's why I kind of didn't get into it for a long time. I tried playing it when it first came out, and I wasn't a big headphones guy into gaming for the longest time. I'm still really not. Like, if I can play a game without headphones, I will. So this was one of those games that I picked up and then I played without headphones, and I regretted it. Because apparently sound is massive. You can hear your opponent walking almost at all times unless they're crouched. So definitely wear headphones and try and listen to those enemy footsteps. That's how you'll find people. If, let's say, you've got a heartbeat sensor and you can hear footsteps, but it's not picking them up on the sensor, then you need to switch primarily to your ears, because that's how you're going to locate that person and get them to the gulag. Alright, so that actually is the end of the video. I did want to make a quick note. We did just hit 10 subscribers on this channel, and while that's not a massive milestone, to me that means the world. I guess I just didn't really think I would hit 10 this quick, so I was a little shocked. I'm not gonna make a special video for that one because I think like I should save those for the 100 and the 1,000 and so on and so forth. So those like massive milestones that are just crazy. But we also reached 100 views. I know it says 93 when you look at it as a guest, but when I look at it from a creator's perspective, it does say 101 views. So I'm just super proud of that, and the fact that 10 people felt the video was good enough to give me a subscribe, like that just means so much to me. So I did want to thank those 10 people, and I'm gonna keep doing this forever. Like, I just enjoy making videos that people enjoy watching, and maybe it helps someone at the end of the day. It's something to laugh at, or it's something that helps them with the game and gets them more knowledge that they needed to become a better player at that game. Just whatever it is, I enjoy doing it. So yeah, this was just a quick thanks, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.